I even look at, say, another example in history, and I do love my history, but centuries later, hundreds of years later, the forge can look like something not quite as loud or abrasive or as ruthless as the Roman Empire, but it can also be something as gentle, as quiet, right? But also just as equally as loud for our silence, right? An example that comes to mind would be a Paris Atelier, right? So you can imagine something like a seamstress, right? She might spend 5 or 6 hours over a single stitch, right? And notice there that it's just about the movement there, right? It's the truth that she's chasing through that motion. It's not chasing likes or validations like in the social media age, right? It's basically mining truth through the fabrics, right? When you look at, say, every culture house, right? It has its own forge, right? So you can think of it like a hidden room where repetition, right? Where the refinement comes from the repetition of the movements, right? This is where that patience, that discipline, that embodiment becomes the silent embodiment of that status within that environment and within that existence. Yeah. So inside the walls of that culture, right? The taste is forged in the same way that iron once was, right? It's done slowly, methodically, deliberately, disciplined, and with consequence, right? And with that feedback loop in place. So what you're doing is you're mastering the constraint before you express the art, and that ties back to the forge before the flow, right? And that's why a lot of the great Paris, a lot of the great fashion houses existed, and they've lasted decades, right? Because they value the craft over just the minutia of the micro, right, rather than staying, like I said, staying focused on the craft, staying focused on the art, because that's the signal that stands out amongst the chaos and amongst the noise, right?